generally people's political predispositions or orientations after young adulthood don't change that much. In the textbook, I think it says 2/3 of people generally keep the same orientation that they had as young adults later on in adulthood. So it's a dated book, and I think we're seeing shifts now, but what they do say as being factors in causing people to defect, right, from their original party or their original political predisposition are things like social or personal influences, personal life experiences. So there is a significant enough life experience that that kind of shifts them out of their original orientation. That can happen, but it doesn't often happen.
I went to college in downtown Chicago. So growing up, someone who lived in a small town, then moving to Chicago, I began to see the diversity in people. And I remember working a part-time job where I worked with people who grew up on welfare, who lived in neighborhoods on the south side of Chicago where they were afraid for summer because the neighborhoods were too dangerous to go play outside. And I remember just being moved by these stories I heard of people that were so different from me, that had experiences of life that were so different from me, and that made me start to question some of these overriding narratives that I believed about politics, that limited government was the best. Not only that, but I started to wrestle with my sexuality and slowly start to come out, and obviously then I started to think about politics differently, even more so. And along with all of that, the way I practiced my Christianity began to change. So I started to believe that really what matters most in life is caring for each other.
Generally, religion plays we would say, plays a significant role in political socialization. That being said, I think, again, we're witnessing sort of a turning point in terms of Christianity, in terms of evangelical Christians, and the unabashed support for the Republican Party. I think,
like when I voted for George Bush, someone asked me what I liked about him, and I remember saying that he was a born-again Christian, and so that's why I voted for him. At that time, that was one issue that seemed to make enough difference to me at that time in my life that I voted for him just for that.
the presidency, the candidacy, the presidency of Barack Obama, we talked a little bit about that. In terms of leadership, he was a charismatic leader and a transformational leader. He had the ability to get people on board, and he had a message that people were ready to buy into. It's interesting to see how he was able to shift maybe that social influence, those large portions of the electorate, to maybe abandon a political party that they once were very committed to.
So my grandpa, who was a Republican, and me growing up, conservative evangelical, sort of made being a Republican just the thing that you were, for no other reason really than that was the only sort of option I thought there was to be a Republican. Then fast forward to the 2008 election, I was in high school, but I was still a Republican, still a strong conservative, still believed that was the best way for America to be governed. I actually wore a John McCain t-shirt to school on Election Day 2008. And then so we went to President Obama's first inauguration, and I remember being struck by the gravity of that moment. President Obama being the first African-American president, just the millions of people that were on the National Mall, a majority of them African-American, just seeing the emotion and the power and sort of the gravitas of the moment. I remember there's a line in President Obama's second inaugural address where he says that our individual freedom is inextricably bound to the freedom of every soul on earth. And I thought, well, if someone were to ask me why I'm a Democrat, I would give something similar to that same sentence. I'm a Democrat because I believe that my liberation is bound up in yours. And then during Barack Obama's presidency is really when my political beliefs and ideologies and even worldview began to change.
As the years went on and our politics changed, and by the second Barack Obama election, I was voting Democrat for Barack, and then this year Hillary. But we still went to the inauguration. And
Now when it seems like some of those messages are in conflict because of things that are said by the administration or things that are done, I think it's causing people to have to look and deeply reflect. And those are where I think the personal experiences and then the social influences, right, can cause a shift in political orientation that maybe wouldn't have been likely 20 years ago.
I've seen a shift in me from that. What I see it now, it's a more open, caring for everybody kind of politic.